listener, welcome to this edition of the New Life program. This is Adventist World Radio, the voice of hope. I'm your host, Victor Nyacharo. This week, you'll hear from the same able voices that were with us in the past 1 week. The only difference is that, from your opinions received, the shows have been improved and spiced up. So be ready for another week filled with entertainment, education, and praises to our Messiah.
Only a boy named David, only a little sling.
Only a boy named David, but he could pray and sing.
Only a boy named David, only a little brook.
Only a boy named David, but 5 little stones he took.
And 1 little stone went in the sling, and the sling went round and round. And 1 little stone went in the sling, and the sling went round and round. And round and round and round and round and round and round and round.
And 1 little stone went up in the air,
and the giant came tumbling down. And the giant came tumbling down, came tumbling down.
Only a boy named David,
only a boy named David,
only a little sling.
only a little sling.
Only a boy named David,
only a boy named David,
he could pray and sing.
He could pray and sing.
Only a boy named David,
only a boy named David at a brook.
Only a boy named
3,
David,
4,
but
5 little stones he took. And 1 little stone went in the sling, and the sling went round and round. And 1 little stone went in the sling, and the sling went round and round. And round and round and round and round and round and round and round. And 1 little stone went up in the air,
and the giant came tumbling.
and the giant came tumbling.
And the giant came tumbling,
And the giant came tumbling, 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 tumbling.
Today, Pastor Kigundu Ndwiga will be doing the second part of Macedonian Factor, which he started last week. Josephine Osumo will talk to us about the cleft lip and the palate, a condition predominant in a newborn baby. Be prepared to learn more from Josephine.
As much as children with clefting require ongoing treatment, parents should also realize that the other areas of their child's development also need their attention. Hello, and a warm welcome to our health program. I'm your presenter, Josephine Osumo. We've been talking about oral clefting, its complications, and treatment. Today, we shall talk about dental care, speech, and emotional and social issues of the person with clefting. Children with clefts usually have extensive surgery in their mouths and often undergo dental and orthodontic treatment. Routine dental care may get lost in the midst of these major procedures, but healthy teeth are critical for a child with clefting because they are needed for proper speech. Children with oral clefting need the same dental care as other children. Regular brushing supplemented with flossing once the child's 6-year molars come in. Depending on the shape of your child's mouth and teeth, your child's dentist may recommend a toothette rather than a toothbrush for cleaning her teeth. A toothette is a soft mouthwash containing sponge on a handle that's used to swab teeth. As your child grows, you can switch to a soft children's toothbrush. The key is to make sure that your child brushes regularly and well. Children with cleft palate often have an alveolar ridge defect. The alveolus is the bony upper gum that contains teeth, and defects can 1. Displace, tip, or rotate permanent teeth. 2. Prevent permanent teeth from appearing, or 3. Prevent the alveolar ridge from forming. These problems can be fixed by grafting bone matter onto the alveolus, which allows the placement of your child's teeth to be corrected orthodontically. Orthodontic treatment usually involves 2 phases, with the first phase beginning around age 7 or 8. The first phase is intended to round out the upper dental arc and to increase the width of the upper jaw. It's called an orthopalatal expansion and involves the placement of a device called an expander inside the child's mouth. The widening of the jaw is followed by a bone graft in the alveolus. After that, your child's orthodontist will wait until the remainder of your child's permanent teeth come in before beginning the second phase. The second phase consists of the removal of extra teeth, the insertion of dental implants if teeth are missing, and the straightening of teeth using braces. About 25% of children with a unilateral cleft lip and palate will require orthognathic surgery to advance upper jaw development and align the teeth. For these children, phase 2 orthodontics may include an operation called an osteotomy on the upper jaw that moves the upper jaw both forward and down. This operation usually requires another bone graft for stability. As well as dental care, it's also important to take note of your child's speech. Children with clefts may have trouble speaking. Their voices are often nasal and don't carry very well. They may also be difficult to understand. Not all children have this problem, and some will find that surgery fixes the problem completely. However, early identification of speech problems is key in solving them. It is recommended that a speech therapist see the child between the ages of 18 months and 2 years. Many speech therapists like to talk with parents at least once during the first 6 months of the child's life to give them an overview of the treatment and suggest specific language and speech stimulation games to play with their child. Shortly after the initial surgery is completed, the speech pathologist will see your child for a complete assessment. The therapist will look at your child's communication development, including pre-speech and pre-language development, the number of sounds he's making, his interaction and play behavior, and the actual words that he's trying to use. This analysis helps determine what, if any, speech exercises your child needs and if he needs further surgery. The speech pathologist will often continue to work with your child as he has additional surgery. If your child's progress seems to be slow, don't worry. Talk to your speech therapist though. Many children who have clefts continue to work with a speech therapist throughout the early school years. Because of the visible facial difference that many children with oral clefting have, many also have low self-esteem and painful teasing from other children. You can help your child by not focusing on your child's cleft and not allowing it to define him as an individual. Creating a warm and supportive home environment where each person's individual worth is openly celebrated. Letting your child know that you feel good about who he is. Encouraging your child to develop friendships with people from diverse backgrounds. Pointing out positive attributes in others that do not involve physical appearance. Encouraging your child's autonomy by giving him the freedom to make appropriate decisions and take appropriate risks, and letting your child's own accomplishments give him a sense of personal value. When your child is young, you might also consider encouraging your child to present information to his class during show and tell, or a special presentation that you arrange with his teacher. Or perhaps your child would like you to come in with him and talk to the class. This can be especially effective with young children. If your child does experience teasing, listen to him. Talk with your child about why he's being teased and how it makes him feel. Give your child the tools to confront his teasers by asking your child what he'd like to say and then practicing those statements with him. If your child seems to have ongoing self-esteem problems, consult with a child psychologist or social worker for support and information. Together with the members of your child's team, you can help your child through his treatment. Also, it's important to keep the lines of communication with your teen open so that you can address any concerns he may have about his appearance. Most children with clefts, if they want or need it, are candidates for plastic surgery to revise the appearance of their nose and lips around ages 14 to 18. Society often focuses on people's appearances, and this can make the teen years especially difficult for someone with a physical difference. Let your child know that you value him for who he is, and be a supportive listener when he faces difficulties with his peers. Listener, we have come to the end of our program on cleft lip and palate. We hope that this series and the program as a whole is of great help to you. Join me again as we talk about milk allergy in infants. I have been your presenter, Josephine Osumo. May God bless you abundantly. Bye.
Josephine has just concluded her 3-part series on the cleft lip and palate. Stay tuned to the Adventist World Radio because great items are about to come your way. Send your views and concerns about this program to the producer, Adventist World Radio, P.O. Box 42276, code 00100, Nairobi, Kenya. Our email address is awrnairobi@eau.adventist.org.
Let not your heart be troubled. Ye believe in God and in me. In my Father's house are many mansions. I go to prepare a place for thee. The Lord is coming, are you ready? The Lord is coming, are you ready? Would your heart be right if he came tonight? The Lord is coming, are you ready? Why will you wait, my brother? Promises of God all are true. Jesus bought your life on Calvary's mountain, and soon he will come again for you. The Lord is coming, are you ready? The Lord is coming, are you ready? Would your heart be right if he came tonight? The Lord is coming. Are you ready?
This is Adventist World Radio, the voice of hope. Pastor Kigundu Ndwiga is here with the second part of his 3-part series on the topic, The Macedonian Factor. Be blessed.
Dear listener, today we continue looking at the example of the Macedonians and their generosity in the Macedonian Factor, Part 2. You see, it is in our pathetic condition that the Macedonian example shines as a beacon light in deep darkness that we can be generous despite our many severe trials. The Macedonian example takes away any excuses we may want to give for our not giving generously to the cause of God. Indeed, like the Macedonians, we can allow the trials to teach us one important lesson, that this world is not our home and all that we possess and that which passes through our hands is temporal. Our severe trials, more than anything, should challenge us to invest our treasure in heaven, where moth, rust, and thieves cannot reach. There is something else Paul also tells us, that the Macedonians were extremely poor. But they were not just poor. Paul underscores the fact that they were extremely, extremely poor. Paul seems to marvel that people who are so poor could be so generous. How generosity could abound in abject poverty was a miracle that Paul could only attribute to God. Well, it is true that among the Macedonians, there are those who are well off like Lydia. Indeed, in every place, there are few who are well off, but they are in the minority. Paul expressed this reality clearly when he told in 1 Corinthians 1 verse 26 and 28, when he said, "Brothers, think of what you were when you are called. Not many of you are wise by human standards. Not many were influential. Not many were of noble birth. But God chose the foolish things of the world to shame the wise. God chose the weak things of the world to shame the strong. He chose the lowly things of this world and the despised things and the things that are not, to nullify the things that are." For those who are well off among the Macedonians and among us, Paul issues the following challenge in 1 Timothy 6 verse 17 to 19. "Command those who are rich in this present world not to be arrogant, nor put their hope in wealth, which is so uncertain, but to put their hope in God, who richly provides us with everything for our enjoyment. Command them to do good, to be rich in good deeds, and to be generous and willing to share. In this way, they'll lay up treasures for themselves as a firm foundation for the coming age, so that they may take hold of the life that is truly life." However, the Macedonian example speaks eloquently to many of us because poverty is rife in our midst. Many of our members are jobless. They have no roof over their heads. They have been displaced by war, and they depend on food from donor agencies due to prolonged droughts and the resultant famines. Overpopulations in our region leads to scarce resources shared among too many people. What compounds the fact is the fact that the scarce resources are divided among just a few people. The bottom line is that we serve the Lord from a position of abject poverty. When we look at our position, we ask ourselves, what can we give to the Lord when we are so poor? Dear listener, the Macedonian example answers that question convincingly, that despite our poverty, we can give generously to the cause of God, and we can give so with great joy. Indeed, it is not only the Macedonians who discovered the secret of giving joyfully and generously to God. The widow who gave 2 mites and the widow of Zarephath had already embraced the Macedonian factor, giving all to the cause of God from their very meager resources. And the Lord, of course, blessed them abundantly. My favorite writer, Ellen White, has this to say: "No greater test of faith than this could have been required of the widow of Zarephath. The widow had hitherto treated all strangers with kindness and liberality. Now, regardless of the suffering that might result to herself and the child, and trusting in the God of Israel to supply her every need, she met this supreme test of hospitality by doing according to the saying of Elijah." Then she makes this powerful conclusion: the widow of Zarephath shared her morsel with Elijah, and in return, her life and that of her son were preserved. And to all who, in time of trial and want, give sympathy and assistance to others more needy, God has promised great blessing. He has not changed. His power is no less now than in the days of Elijah. Dear listener, we may be suffering and undergoing many trials during this season of galloping inflation and depressed economy. We may be plagued with abject poverty, but the Macedonian example silences all our protests to giving generously. The example exposes all our hiding places and wipes away all our excuses until we are compelled to confess. It is selfishness and self-preservation that prevents us from giving generously to the cause of God. Dear listener, we have no excuse. One question begs to be answered. What made the Macedonians so generous and joyful that they needed no coercion to give? What made them plead urgently with the Apostle Paul to be given the privilege of sharing in the giving ministry? What was their secret? Dear listener, join me in the next presentation as we uncover the paradox of how one can be so poor and yet so generous.
It has been delightful having your company. Do join us again here at Adventist World Radio, the Voice of Hope. If you have any comments, suggestions or opinions concerning the program, you can send them to the producer, Adventist World Radio, P.O. Box 42276, code 00100, Nairobi, Kenya. Our email address is awrnairobi@eau.adventist.org. From the entire New Life production team, we say thank you and be blessed. I have been your presenter, Victor Nyacharo. Goodbye.
Only a boy named David, only a little sling.
Only a boy named David, but he could pray and sing.
Only a boy named David, only a little brook.
Only a boy named David, but 5 little stones he took.
And 1 little stone went in the sling, and the sling went round and round. And 1 little stone went in the sling, and the sling went round and round. And round and round and round and round and round and round and round.
And 1 little stone went up in the air.
And the giant came tumbling
And the giant came
down.
tumbling
And the giant
down.
came tumbling down. Came tumbling down.
Only a boy named David,
Only a boy named David.
only a little sling.
Only a little sling.
Only a boy named David,
Only a boy named
that he
David.
could pray and sing.
He could pray and sing.
Only a boy named David,
Only a boy named David at the brook.
stones he took, and one little stone went in the sling, and the sling went round and round. And one little stone went in the sling, and the sling went round and round, and round and round and round and round and round and round and round. And one little stone went up in the air,
And the giant came tumbling.
and the giant came tumbling.
And the giant came tumbling,
tumbling, time came tumbling, 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 down. Let not your heart be troubled. Ye believe in God and in me. In my Father's house are many mansions. I go to prepare a place for thee. The Lord is coming, are you ready? The Lord is coming, are you ready? Would your heart be right if he came tonight? The Lord is coming, are you ready? Why will you wait, my brother? Promises of God all are true. Jesus bought your life on Calvary's mountain, and soon he will come again for you. The Lord is coming, are you ready? The Lord is coming, are you ready? Would your heart be right if he came tonight? The Lord is coming. Are you ready?
Only a boy named David, only a little sling.
Only a boy named David, but he could pray and sing.
Only a boy named David, only a little brook.
Only a boy named David, but 5 little stones he took.
And one little stone went in the sling, and the sling went round and round. And one little stone went in the sling, and the sling went round and round, and round and round and round and round and round and round and round.
And one little stone went up in the air.
And the giant came tumbling
And the giant
down.
came tumbling
And the giant
down.
came tumbling down. Came tumbling down.
Only a boy named David,
Only a boy named David.
only a little sling.
Only a little sling.
Only a boy named David,
Only a boy named
that he could
David.
pray and sing.
He could pray and sing.
Only a boy named David.
Only a boy named David at the brook.
Only a boy named
Three,
David,
four,
but
5 little stones he took. And one little stone went in the sling, and the sling went round and round. And one little stone went in the sling, and the sling went round and round, and round and round and round and round and round and round and round. And one little stone went up in the air,
and the giant came tumbling.
and the giant came tumbling.
And the giant came tumbling,
Time came tumbling, 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 tumbling.